Welcome back or just welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Luca and this is part 6 of my anxiety story. If you haven't watched the previous videos, I recommend starting from the beginning. They explain how everything slowly built up. But you are also welcome to start right here with this video. In this video, I'll talk about therapy, about silence, about things I didn't believe in, and how they ended up helping me more than I expected. Therapy that opened the door to self-analysis and helped me discover maybe the real cause of the state I never meant to be in. So let's begin. On my wife's advice, I started psychotherapy. That kind of therapy was a taboo topic for me. Not just for me, but for the environment I grew up in. In my mind, back then, it was something meant for people with serious psychological problems. Not for someone like me. That was my belief. Somewhere in the back of my mind, there was also this question. What would people think if they find out I was seeing a psychiatrist? I already believed I should be able to fix this on my own. I thought therapy was a waste of time and a waste of money. But if I'm being honest, the fear of how I would be perceived was one of the biggest reasons I resisted starting at all. That was the mindset I walked in with. And now a few words about how I even found this psychiatrist. He was actually a friend of a friend, so you could say it came through a recommendation. At the time, he was working in a hospital where people were treated for drug addiction. He also had a private practice on the side. His name was Daniel. After long and demanding days at the hospital, sometimes I wondered if I was his therapy. I wasn't using drugs, but in a way I was addicted to. Addicted to worry, addicted to fear. And then the day of my first therapy session finally came. The session started. The Daniel sat across from me, like in the movies, and just looked at me. No words, nothing. It lasted maybe 30 seconds, but to me it felt like forever. For a moment, I wondered if one of his patients had offered him something a little stronger that day, because I had a strange feeling he was looking straight through me. Finally, he broke the silence with one simple question. Why are you here? And then I talked for about 10 minutes straight. He asked me more questions, and the things started coming out of me that I never imagined I would say out loud. Events that might seem small to someone else, but carried emotions I had clearly never processed properly. Instead of dealing with them, I packed them away into my powder keg. After that first session, I felt lighter, almost like I had taken off part of weight I'd been carrying. I imagine it's similar to what believers feel after confession, if the confession is honest. At the first, I went once a week, then once every 2 weeks, then once a month. After about 6 months, Daniel told me he believed I could continue on my own. And honestly, I felt the same. I was much better, not completely free, but the intrusive thoughts and the physical reactions were less frequent, less intense, and I could manage them. Okay, let's pause here. You know that famous idea that every difficult situation is supposed to teach you something, to make you stronger? That you are supposed to learn from failure, from loss, from hard seasons? Well, what did I actually learn here? Listening to myself talk during therapy, I realized that most of those stored emotions had one common root: lack of confidence. Some of it went back to childhood. Frequent school changes, moving because of war in my country, that can easily be called trauma. But even in those situations, confidence play a key role. How do you fit into new environment as a teenager when you barely feel stable inside? What kind of confidence can you have at that age? Let's see what confidence really is. Confidence is a strange thing. It's not something you are born with. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be developed. In some areas of life, we may have plenty of it, in others, almost none. If you look at the general definition, confidence is the subjective feeling of your own worth, competence, and ability to face challenges, reach goals, and handle life situations successfully. But let's break it down. Real confidence includes belief in yourself, a realistic assessment of your abilities, stability under stress, and authenticity, which means acting according to your values, not constant approval. Now, think about this. How many people do you know who truly have all of that? Not many, right? Now, let's compare confidence with other terms. Confidence is not the same as self esteem. Self esteem is broader, it's about accepting yourself as a whole. Confidence is more about believing in your abilities. It's also not narcissism. Narcissism is inflated confidence without real foundation, often mixed with a need for dominance and praise. And it's not exactly self efficacy either, which is believing you can complete a specific task. Confidence is deeper, more stable, and more fragile than we think. Today, many parents try to pump up their children with confidence. But confidence is often tied to achievement. And what happens? What happens when child fails? The first thought becomes, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not worthy. That's why awareness, self awareness, is even more important than confidence. A child should first understand that their value is not tied to performance. They are valuable as they are. If parents focused more on building awareness instead of constant achievement pressure, children would grow up less dependent on outside validation and more grounded. Parents also need to reflect their own ambitions, their own behavior, and how that energy transfers to their children. And one more thing that is just as important: patience. They must also teach their children patience. Teaching children patience is crucial for their future development and well being. Patience helps children learn to manage their emotions when faced with the challenges, frustrations, and delays. Instead of reacting with impulsivity or outbursts, patient children can pause, regulate their feelings, and respond more constructively. This builds emotional intelligence and resilience. So, for the parents, stop rushing to satisfy every whim your kid has. It's okay to make them wait, and it's important for them to learn that not everything comes easy. Today's world constantly pushes comparison. Trends, social media, competition, children and adults are bombarded with message that they must keep up. Dress like this, think like this, listen to this, or something must be wrong with you. And that thought, something must be wrong with me, is fertile ground for anxiety. Even as adults, external influence remains strong. We may not be children anymore, but we still compare ourselves. We still feel not good enough, not capable enough, not attractive enough, not fast enough, which means we never built that core awareness. And people who lack that foundation become perfect targets for fear, panic attacks, anxiety, and depression. A full bundle of self destructive patterns. I have a good metaphor for how anxiety affects us. Now imagine this. You are walking on one leg. You have a second perfectly healthy leg, but you kept it bent. You refuse to use it because your brain sends you a false signal that it's unsafe to put it down. How stable are you? Would even the smallest push knock you over? Probably yes. That's what anxiety feels like. The push is not physical, it's a thought, a fear, a situation, and down you go. In the end, let's do a recap. Therapy didn't fix everything overnight, but it gave me awareness, and awareness slowly rebuilt my stability. Not perfection, not invincibility, just balance. In the next video, I'll continue the conversation on self-analysis, all with the goal of building a foundation of resilience against everything that leads us into unwanted states of anxiety and panic attacks. So stay with me and see you in the next video.